night. We left a patrol unit on scene to maintain custody of the crime scene, and then we decided to regroup this morning. So what we did is we've got our mobile substation set up. We have got our evidence unit is out here. Our homicide unit is out here. We've got a cadet class out here helping, and then we've got a couple of volunteer search teams that are out here, two of which have cadaver dog canines that are helping us with the search. And then additionally, we've got the folks that you see in orange. That's our team of civilians. That's our V Corps, our volunteer corps, that have their own search and rescue team. They're specially trained, specially equipped. But between all of that personnel, we're just going to be conducting different kinds of searches out here today in hopes that we might find something else to add evidence-wise to that skull. You know, right now we're telling our folks to look out for, you know, other bones, anything that looks like a shallow grave, any jewelry, any clothing, anything that looks like it might be of evidentiary value, to let us know and we can collect it. But at this point, it's too early to tell whose skull that may be. It does look like it's been out here for a while, so we're going to be out here for probably the better part of today, and I wouldn't doubt it if this goes off into other days additionally. Esta tarde nosotros estamos aquí en una búsqueda por evidencia. Anoche o ayer en la tarde, ya oscureciendo, unos testigos iban caminando por la carretera y se encontraron con una calavera entre el monte. Ellos nos hablaron a nosotros, nuestros oficiales de patrulla llegaron, sí identificaron la calavera de ser de un ser humano. Ya cuando empezamos a investigar anoche, empezó a hacer mucho frío y oscureció muy pronto. Entonces nosotros lo que hicimos, nos fuimos de la escena, pero dejamos un oficial de patrulla para mantener custodia de la escena de los hechos, y esta mañana empezamos la búsqueda. Tenemos voluntarios que están aquí con nosotros, unos perros de una organización voluntaria que también ellos se encargan de buscar cuerpos. Entonces, entre todos nosotros estamos aquí en esta búsqueda. Estamos buscando otros huesos, o si hay sepultura o joyería, ropa, lo que podemos encontrar de evidencia para poder averiguar quién es esta persona y qué les pasó. Any questions?
Where was it? What area was it found?
So it's this tree area back here, and you can see where my antenna is. So that second telephone pole, if you walk straight into the woods from there, that's where it is, probably about, I'd say, 100 yards in. And really, you know, there was typically on a scene like this, we're used to seeing, you know, bones scattered about, and it's pretty common, especially in rural Bexar County where we're dealing, and this used to be rural Bexar County up until fairly recently. You know, we're used to finding scenes like this, unfortunately, but what you'll usually find is a main crime scene and then bones scattered around where wildlife gets to it. But in this instance, that's not what we're finding. It's just the human skull there.
¿Hubo algún tipo de trauma que encontraron en los restos humanos?
Ahorita no se puede averiguar eso, solamente es una calavera, no tiene nada de piel ni nada, nomás es el hueso puro, y pues ahorita no se puede notar si hay evidencia de trauma o algo así. Ahorita nosotros nos queremos concentrar en identificar quién es la persona y qué les pasó.
Y dijo en inglés que parece que esta calavera tenía mucho tiempo ahí. ¿Me lo puede decir en español?
Sí, es posible. Estaba hablando con mi sargento de homicidio. Él nos estaba diciendo que por su experiencia, esta calavera puede tener hasta 2 años aquí. Entonces es posible que es una víctima de un homicidio, pero también es posible que es una persona sin hogar que falleció en el monte antes de que llegaran todas estas casas, y es posible que es algo de eso de ya hace varios años. Es posible que un animal se llevó el hueso y lo puso allí. Entonces ahorita nosotros estamos considerando todas las posibilidades y ojalá podamos averiguar quién es esta persona con la evidencia que está ahí. Ya teniendo evidencia así, por ejemplo, tienen los dientes todavía enteros en la calavera. Entonces nosotros quisiéramos ver si tenemos otros casos de alguien desaparecido, y si la familia tienen los records de los dientes, entonces ahí podemos comparar para ver si es esa persona.
Can you tell us about how to identify this skull?
Sure. What we have is a pretty bleached out skull. Our homicide sergeant was telling us that it could have been here for upwards of 2 years. That's an estimate, of course, based upon his experience. From what we can tell, it could be a murder victim. It could also be, because knowing that this was fairly recently, up until a year or two ago, a wooded area, rural, it could have been a homeless person that died in the woods, and now this is what we're finding. So we're not ruling anything out. At this point, we don't have any evidence of trauma, but what we do have is teeth. There's still some teeth in the skull. And so obviously for us, we're looking at all of our missing persons cases, and obviously we'll be talking to the San Antonio Police Department. Anybody that suspects this may be their family member, we can certainly compare to dental records. So we certainly are not without some clues and some resources, but we're trying to move fairly quickly here. Obviously, it's going to get darker on us here in a couple of hours, so we want to make sure that we're moving efficiently, but hopefully we'll be able to get some more clues.
So there were no markings on the skull that you saw?
I didn't see any markings at all. It just looks like the skull's been sitting out here for a while. It is possible that the person died right there and the bones were scattered elsewhere by animals, or heavy rains, maybe they kind of sunk into the ground. That's one of the things that we're looking for. Or it's possible that they died elsewhere and that skull may have been carried here by something like a coyote or a dog.
Was the driver that was searching for whatever last night, how did he react?
My understanding is there was actually a young kid that found it and wasn't, his eyes probably weren't believing what he was seeing. So he called his dad over, or an adult that was with him. He called him over, and they called us. They did the right thing. They backed out. They didn't touch it. They called us and stuck around for us to get the information from them.
¿Puede decir eso en español, algo así?
Sí, las personas que se encontraron con la calavera, yo entiendo que era un joven y su familia. El joven vio lo que estaba viendo, la calavera. Él le llamó a un adulto que estaba con él. Entre los dos vieron la calavera. Y hicieron lo que deberían hacer, no tocaron nada, nos hablaron a nosotros y nos dieron el reporte y se quedaron aquí para darnos la información.
How long do you think it might take to identify who it is?
I mean, we'd rather do it sooner rather than later, of course. We're already talking to the medical examiner's office to see. I mean, obviously they took custody of the skull last night. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd love to be able to see some identifications done sooner rather than later. I mean, I'd love to have it here in the next couple of days, but I have no doubt that Dr. Molina and her group they're probably going to be working around the clock to help us out with this for sure.
So y'all are going to probably tear down at sunset, I guess?
Well, what we'll probably do is scale back. If we're still out here, we'll probably scale back and maybe just leave a patrol unit. As long as this is an active scene, we will maintain custody of it. So we will have at least some presence out here. So people shouldn't be alarmed if they see a patrol car. They may even see the mobile substation set up. It's because we're still processing the scene.
What time do y'all think you'd be back in the morning tomorrow?
Probably pretty early, as soon as daylight starts. And that's if this search takes us beyond that. It's possible we might wrap up today, but I'm also not ruling out that this may turn into a couple of days for us.
¿Cuál es la meta en esta investigación? ¿Qué es lo que están buscando ahorita?
Ahorita estamos buscando otros huesos, si podemos encontrar huellas donde alguien ha estado caminando, o si hay sepultura, si hay tierra donde se ve que alguien ha estado molestando la tierra, joyería, ropa, lo que sea. Si hay cosas que nosotros podemos pensar que está conectado a esta calavera, entonces lo vamos a colectar.
Gracias.
Okay. Thank you.